across the board, and not just leadership in the governance sphere or in the economic fields or in the business areas, but in fact to create leadership across the board that will lead the African people in this journey to build the Africa we want. And the reason for this is extremely simple and important. One, the youth, as we all know, are the majority of the African population. They are more than 65% of the African population. So therefore, since they are the majority, they have the power to decide on the leadership and the kind of leadership that they want. Secondly, the youth are the engine for the change that we hope for and the change that we want. And there is no change that can really be successful without the youth being part of it and without the youth being the leaders of it. So because of these two reasons, we thought it is important for us to go about the development of this important manual. So then this manual will be available to all youth in each and every corner in Africa to benefit from it, to prepare themselves as leaders, and to be part of this movement towards building the Africa we want. The uniqueness about this process is even the consultants that have been hired or engaged to develop the manual, they are also youth. So youth are represented by youth. And you could also see Stella, our moderator, and how youthful she is. Ivan is also another leader that is part of the process. John, Magok, and others. So all youth, even myself, as you can see, that I'm part of this youth group. So therefore, today we meet as youth to agree on what we really need to input into this manual, so that we can have a manual that we all participate in its development. But this is not the end of the process. What we really need to do after that is to participate also in the dissemination of this manual to all organizations, to all African citizens, to all young men and women in each and every part of our continent. We know that we cannot bring all African youth to be part of this process because many of them, they don't have access to social media. Many of them, they don't have access to internet. Many of them, they don't have access to electricity, even in many parts of Africa. So what we do is the task is becoming huger on the shoulders of those who are part of this consultation today. Because now you have the responsibility to go back to share the information with all youth within your networks, and even with youth, those who are out of your networks. So please try to help us to share the information so then we can equip, in fact, all the African youth with this important manual and get them ready to be part of the journey that will lead us to build the Africa we want. Before I conclude, let me just leave you with a few thoughts that I was thinking about this morning. Number one, excuse me, we keep talking about leadership, but in this manual now, we are not really going to debate the kind of leadership that we want. But what we really want to debate is basically the elements that will be shaping the leadership of the African youth that we hope for. And therefore, we really want you to focus more on not just today, but even the future, 50 years from now. What kind of leadership that we will really need even at that time, so then we can ensure continuity in this process, and the process will not be disconnected at some point. My second thought, we've been talking about youth, but we have to emphasize the need for the involvement of female women, young women, in this process. Unfortunately, still in Africa, our women are marginalized, they are excluded, despite the fact that they have really proved their wisdom, proved their leadership, proved their knowledge, proved their skills and resourcefulness. So therefore, we need to really call on the African young ladies, young women, to be part of this development process of African young leadership, so they can also be represented and be included. Without them, the bird will not fly, because the bird needs two wings to fly. So please, let's also focus on young women to be fully included in this process. I will be attending and observing this discussion keenly to hear your inputs and comments. And I hope by the end of this process, we will be able to have as much input as possible from all of you around the table today. And as I mentioned earlier, please, once this consultation ended, try to share the information within your network so we can get more inputs from those who are not able to be part of this consultation this afternoon. Let me thank each and every one of you once again for being part of this process. And let me thank our organizers, especially in You Lead Africa. And let me wish you very fruitful deliberations. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for those very useful comments. I could never agree with you more that we need to indeed focus on ensuring that the young women's voices are included in this conversation, and that it would be good value for us to spend our energy defining the elements that then will create the leaders that we want for Africa in the future, and the kind of leaders that we want to be for the continent. So thank you so much for those inspirational statements at the beginning. And I think you have managed to set a good base for the conversation as we start. I have also in the room a lady who has set herself apart as a tech and AI expert on matters of matters of tech and artificial intelligence. And she's been invited into this conversation to come and assist us to assess how we are able to use that particular technology, that level of technology, to be able to promote leadership development, and to probably share with us some highlights on how then we can impact on leadership by ensuring that we take advantage of those two particular components to build a proper development process and leadership for that kind of development process in Africa. Help me welcome Maha Jouini, who is going to be taking us through that. Maha, you're welcome. And thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you. Thank you. The honor is mine. I would like to salute colleagues in the African Union Commission, and I'd like to mention something that I was serving as an AU visitor from 2015 to 2017, and after I finished my volunteer work as a Texas African campaign to end child marriage in Africa, then I got the privilege and the honor to pursue my study at Tianjin University of Technology in China, where I specialized in artificial intelligence, and I served within DUAPA, China New Technology in Africa. So it's thanks to the African Union Commission I got my master's degree, my scholarship to study in one of the most prestigious university in China, Tianjin University of Education and Technology. And after I finished my studies, I decided to give back what AUC gave to me. And this is what I always like to push my fellow African. People respect us because we are African. And people give us because we come from this beautiful continent. And the previous generation, they did a lot for us. We have to give this back to the continent, and we have to work hard. Firstly, I want to to remind you that the African Union Commission was funded as a premier continental institution for the promotion and the order to accelerate the socio-economic and the political integration of was founding after a horrible history of colonization. And let me please remind you, my friends, about the colonial history in the north of Africa. And the colony starts in Algeria.
Maha, we have lost you.
Hello, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes,
Hello?
yes.
Yeah.
Now we hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. I have to start with colonization, and they will tell you why. The colony starts with when French captured Algeria in 1830, and then they capture Tripoli, Libya. Later, they rule Tunisia, then Egypt, then Morocco. And all what happened at that time, if you have a look, you can understand that in Tunisia, the people who were educated, they were less than 10%. Algeria, through a deep and vulnerable economic crisis.
Yes, is it the connection?
Maha, we are losing you.
Yeah.
I want to highlight in general way that French, Italy, Spain, and England, they could capture the north. First, the economic crisis, because Tunisia, at that time, we were ruled by the Ottoman. They did a lot of convention with the French. We were French in 1964. They took advantages, and they in 1877.
Maha, your network is really letting you down. Maha, can you hear me? Okay, we may have to proceed as we wait for Maha to sort out her internet. Just so that we can.
Sorry, I think I have to stop my video and continue talking because the internet is super slow.
Please do that. Please do that.
Yes. Okay. Great. Awesome. Well, what I was mentioning, that's the French, Italy, England, and Spain, they could capture the northern region for only two major reasons, starting with the economic crisis, then education. At that time, our region were vulnerable. We were struggling under poverty, under corruption, under Ottoman leaders who gave the land to colonizer. The corruption was too high, and people that were vulnerable and for sure not educated. Well, at that time, French, they could capture Tunisia because the government of the government of Tunisia, he has a lot of debt. As return, when he couldn't pay back the money, they took the land, they took my country. These lessons from history, why I mentioned it? because I would like that my fellow African, we as young, we have to understand that we have been colonized because we were living under poverty, and because the Western, they were high developed and they were enjoying the second industrial revolution and before the first industrial revolution. So the people were highly advanced and we were taking money from them. We were getting help from them. So as a result of economic crisis and lack of education, the Western country, they could take the north of the continent, the Horn of Africa, and the whole of our lands and resources. Well, at that time, in 1956, Imam Zaytouna in Tunisia, I'd like to mention this, that in 1956, our people, they were engaged with national movement to liberate Tunisia from French colony, and then the government start to settle based on administrative heritage of French colony, which is real unfortunate. Why? Because all of the North governments were settled under what we heritage from the other. And still now, I'd like to mention this about Tunisian economy, because our economy till this moment, we still stained. The government can take a lot of steps to save our lives or to take decisions, because each and everything still belongs to French since 1956. So unfortunately, we were stained for 2 centuries, while the West people were inventing, thinking, designing new concept of governments. They implement democracy, they implement good governance, but for us, we couldn't, because we were still living under dependency and poverty. Now, for instance, we are luckily living under the digital age, the age of artificial intelligence, where machines are autonomous, intelligent, they can take and tackle projects on behalf of a human. Why I said we are luckier? We are living on the 4th industrial revolution, where each and everything still are belonging to machine. We have access to education. We have access to technology, because now technology is our new leverage to enhance the Pan-African movement, to enhance our skills, to do what our ancestors cannot do and couldn't do it. Today, we can know. You can just Google anything on the internet and you can know it. And I'm really pessimistic about this. I remember in the last conference, we made it with the African ICT Foundation, and I was the moderator of the session. We tackled the issue of artificial intelligence and new media. And all of the participants from Africa, they will say, oh no, artificial is not for us. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Let us define what we mean by artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, it's each and everything, it is and every intelligence which is non-biological, right? And the basics of artificial intelligence, it's mathematics, it's algebra, it's about math. If you can do algorithm, you can coding with Python, you can do it. The problem now is, it's not that we are not ready for the artificial intelligence. As long as we have mind, we are ready for it. We can handle it. And we will save Africa to not stay behind the Western. And we can do like Chinese are doing right now, like Indians are doing right now. We can raise. But the problem that we, Africans, we look at ourselves as we are under the time of artificial intelligence, that we do not deserve the age of the digital information. And this is the problem. This is the problem. And for me, what I suggest really for this manual is to give back the confidence to Africans. Because if you want to see, if we come back to the history of algebra, it has been founded by an Arab called Mohammed al-Khwarizmi, the science of algebra. So if we come back to history, come back to history of Mauritania, of Ethiopia, you will see great civilizations, the pharaoh, all what we have in Africa. We were leaders because our ancestors believed on themselves. Our ancestor believes on education. Our ancestor raised the economy. But now, for instance, we as youth, we have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe on our minds. Science has no color. Mind has no color. Coding, because the basics of artificial intelligence is coding, is algebra. And these sciences has no color. We can do it, no matter where we come from. New technology is not for whites. New technology is for everyone. And new technology is our new leverage to save the continent, to enhance Pan-Africanism. And this is what I'm doing among the African Chamber for Digital Commerce, where I engage the Northern people with us, with the whole movement. What we did during the COVID-19 with Kaya Shebi in the...
Wind up.
Sorry?
Please try and wind up.
I continue?
I'm saying please try and wind up.
I didn't get it. Okay,
Please
I will
try and finish up.
Okay, yeah, great. I'm sorry, I get too long. Great. Now, sorry because I get so much excitement about the topic, which I really like. Okay, I will finish with the definition of the fourth industrial revolution and a recommendation. What we mean by the fourth industrial revolutions, two things. First, Internet of Things, as known a lot, the Internet of Things, which means a network of interconnection, smart device that allow each separate device to interact. Things is Internet of System, business-owned system that can collect data from a lot of network to make independent decisions about your business, right? So at this time, we as youth, we can learn and make a lot of business and save the continent using the leverage of a new technology of Internet of Things plus Internet of System. Second things, my recommendations are three. First, assist young Africans to develop an ICT sector to be less reliant on ICT imports and to better integrate African country in the global value chains and to enhance the sector's contributions up into economic growth and job creation. Second, assist our young and our startup in Africa to develop a good quality ICT infrastructures and affordable prices and promote its use and the use of African, Pan-African e-services and related application for developments. And I like to mention what Nigerians did with robots and artificial intelligence. And in Kenya, there are two great experiences. We have to follow up with it and encourage it. Third, last recommendations is to develop a national and e-regional commerce platform together with mobile payment solution, which could allow e-commerce to be a tool for economic transformation involving all stakeholders, and believe that.
Maha, we have lost you again. Did you mute yourself? We're not getting sound from you now.
You can hear me?
Yes, yes.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. My last recommendation is to develop a national or regional e-commerce platform together with mobile payment solutions, which could allow e-commerce to be a tool for economic transformation involving all stakeholders. To finish, technology, it's not a way to interconnect or to do infographic or mobile videos or social network. No, technology is our leverage for a new solution to save the continent and to really, really implement and to live our African dream. The Africa we want come through will be realized in this time, in the fourth industrial revolution. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Maha, for that statement. Indeed, there's a place for artificial intelligence, new age technology, the Internet of Things, and the Internet of People in the development of Africa. And there's definitely a place for it in the conversations that we're going to be having today. Thank you very much for that presentation. Even with the technical hitches, we managed to get everything that you said, and we'll put that into consideration. I would like to remind everyone in the meeting that this meeting was convened, was organized for the youth to be able to make a contribution to the training manual. And so we are going to be going through a process where we ask questions and the participants will answer. To avoid confusion, if you want to speak, I would want to see you raising your hand on the call, and then I'm going to call out your name when it's your turn to speak. We do have a challenge today that we have not gotten Arabic translation. I hope we do not have any Arabic speakers who are not able to speak in English or French. However, because of that, we made a plan that all the questions I'm going to be asking will be put on the chat room in Arabic by Magok, so that if you're comfortable in Arabic, you can answer the question in Arabic. And then we are also going to make sure that if you want to speak, you can speak in Arabic. We are recording everything, and we shall have a translator to decode everything for us. So I just needed to make that announcement and apologize to you all for not being able to technically include a translator for the conversation today. However, this is still your meeting, and don't be afraid to contribute. If you have to say anything and you don't feel like talking, you can type it in the chat room. If you want to speak, please take the floor and give your contribution. But let's try and keep it as short as possible so that we have as many contributions as possible, and we get feedback and manage to gather enough information for the manual. I'm also going to try and make sure that I speak the simplest English I am capable of, so that then we can continue to communicate. Allow me at this point to recognize again Nile Youth Organization, headed by John Magok, who's helping us with this coordination. I should also at this point recognize our main partner in coordination of all youth activities in the East Africa community, the East Africa Community Youth Ambassadors Platform. We work with them on all our programs, and they are our key entry point and partner when we are collaborating with the East Africa community. They are represented here by a number of representatives of the organization, and we are grateful that they came. So I have about 14 questions that I'm going to be asking us, and as I ask these questions, I'm going to be asking them one by one, and Magok will be pasting them on the chat. And then I'm also going to be giving you a chance to contribute. And when I think we have had enough feedback on one item, I allow you to continue contributing on the chat, but I go to the next question. We also are running a poll on the call, but then we have not launched it yet. After we have gone through the first broad discussion about the kind of leadership that we want, or the type of leadership we need for Africa, we will then launch the poll, and I'll invite everyone on the call to log on to the poll answer the questions on the poll, and then at the end of the call, we will sample the feedback from the poll and see what your thoughts are on the questions we have asked in the poll. I hope that is clear. So without wasting much time, what type of leadership do we need for Africa? The question one that I'm asking all of us is, what type of leadership do we need for the Africa we want? So if you could just give me your answers about the type of leadership we need for the Africa we want, I would really appreciate it. Please raise up your hand if you want to give answers. Ahmed Nazar, I see your hand up. Please unmute yourself and tell us which country you're coming from, and please give us your feedback.
Hi, hello, Stella. My name is Ahmed. I'm from Sudan, North Sudan. I have an idea that we can actually implement. We can actually implement the ideas we want to implement subconsciously in kids by media and by music. Use these both in it can really help in implementing messages to people who aren't really grown-ups yet. It's like one of the people who did this is Chadwick Boseman, you know, the Black Panther guy. Yeah, so and Hollywood does it all the time, like all the science fiction movies and what's not. So and I also think that especially in countries like African countries, joy is always foundational to growth. Like you can't grow without having joy. You have to be you need joy at first. You need to be happy, so you look at life from a different perspective. So when you're happy, your mind accepts everything. But when you're depressed and sad, it's so different that you can't understand in a good way. That's why poverty is always going down and the rich get richer. And so
I'd like you to comment on the type of leadership that we need for the Africa we want.
What do you mean by the type?
What kind of leadership are we looking for?
We're looking for a new kind of leadership. That's something that never happened before, because everything we've tried in the past didn't work. So we need something new, especially with what Maha was talking about, and which is the fourth industrial revolution, because it's doing a very big impact on everything, on the world itself, and with social media and how everyone's is so hooked on their phones. So it's like they're giving you a gate to give them information. So now you get to choose if you want to give these kids the information they want or no. Like you can, for example, I'm a rapper. I rap, I do music, and I implement my ideas inside music, but in ways that they could never think of. I do a song and it's so joyful, but in the middle, I tell kids that I am, for example, I was inspired by Chadwick Boseman, for example. So if the kid is inspired by me, if I blew up, so one day he's gonna search for Chadwick Boseman. So when he knows who's Chadwick Boseman, he's gonna get hooked to the idea of Pan-Africanism and that's, and also Rastafarians, they do that a lot by the reggae music.
I got it.
So yeah. So and one of the things I wanted to talk about is can I talk? I feel like
then I'll come back to you, Nazar.
Okay, thank you.
Ibrahim, Hasan, Mohammed, do you have something to say about the question?
Yeah, and thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Yeah, thank you very much. And my name is Ibrahim Hasan Mohammed. I am representing a youth and also a civil society organization called MCAN. I am from Somalia and I'm now speaking from Mogadishu. I'm grateful that I am taking part in the consultation meeting. I don't want even to go further in the presentation, but I would like to stick on the question that you raised, as long as I can see that many other questions are behind. In terms of my my suggestion or my idea and being saying that and what type of leadership do we need in Africa? I could simply say that we need a leader that has a vision that can see beyond other, and that can see the positive engagement and that can contribute the whole continent with the respect and coherency and bringing together the conflict level that Africa associated, and especially in the well-being of the future of the continent, and also think about and how it could be cope and with the other, use an example to cope the mechanism that has been already been in place, seeing a difference that is being done already in the other world, so that we might see a tangible and leadership that has a vision and also have a sight that can be seen further and also can hinder to the well-being of the African youth and also the African people. That's what I could say in short. Thank you very much.
I agree with you, Ibrahim. Indeed, we need a leadership that has a vision and a leadership that can be copied by the rest of the world. When America was having the problems they had at the beginning of the year, I remember saying that Africa now needs to produce the kind of leaders that the rest of the world will copy. So you are indeed right in saying that we need to create models that other people can copy. While you're still contributing, if you're not able to talk, you can type in the chat what type of leaders or the kind of leaders you think we need for Africa. I see your hand up, Isaac M. Supu. Please make your quick feedback.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for recognizing me. My name is Isaac M. Supu. I am from Liberia. I'm representing the Students Against Corruption. The Students Against Corruption is a student-led organization that is dedicated to combating corruption in Liberia and Africa. The question is good. If I have to answer that question, what kind of leadership do we need in Africa? Like you said, we need a visionary leader. We need a leader who will be courageous enough and brave enough. You know, Africa needs its own brand. We don't need a leader that will always copy after Westerners, everything. We need leader who will think outside of the box. That when there is a decision making, they can meet young people and do the agreement. Because Africa's solution is right in Africa. So if we need leaders who believe that Africa young youth or the young people in Africa has the solution, or Africa's solution is right here in Africa. When we have a leader that start thinking that everything that need to be done can be done right in Africa here, definitely it means that leader believe in the vision of Africa and believe in young people. So to conclude, we need a leader that is visionary. We need a courageous leader. We need outstanding leader, a leader that believes that what it takes to develop Africa is right in Africa, and that asset is the young people. And when we believe in the young people, we can liberate Africa. And we need a leader that will be highly involved or highly believe in a fight against corruption. Corruption is one of our major problems. So if we have a leader that believe in that message, an anti-corruption message that can be able to send those messages across, because to combat corruption, it requires a serious political will. So even if the young people are waiting to stand up against corruption, the churches, everywhere are waiting to stand up against corruption. But if there's no strong political will, we will not combat corruption easily. So to arrest corruption, we need a leader that will believe in a fight against corruption. So we need a leader that highly believe in a fight against corruption.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that, Supu. Ismail, Hasan, Mohammed, I see your hand up, and I'm happy that there's feedback coming in the chat room. I have seen that Maglaha Hama is saying that in Africa, the rights are still a dream, and therefore we need to work on making sure that then we have leaders who will deliver rights to everyone. She says we need a leadership that can value human beings and knowledge. Very important. Ismail, Hasan, Mohammed, do you want to make your input now?
Yes. For your question that you have raised in the group, first, let me introduce myself to my fellow African youth. My name is Ismail Hassan Mohammed from Somalia. I am assistant manager for marginalized community advocate and civil rights activist. So the question that says what kind of leadership we need for Africa? The kind of leadership we need for Africa is leaders who have vision first, as it has been said by my fellow Africans, leaders who have principles, leaders who have valuable things, leaders who can see the future, leaders who have a mission that what are we achieving in 2030, leaders who can stand and become autonomous, independent leaders who can say that we can do for ourselves as African. We don't need a kind of leader whereby a Chinese will sit in Beijing and call them and say, we have a meeting, so you have to join us. And they will go directly without knowing what is going to happen there. So the kind of leaders we need in Africa is a democratic leader, a leaders who are approachable, a leaders who care for Africans, the people that they lead, a leaders who can make change to African, because the Africa that we need is a borderless Africa. So what I could have said is like that's the kind of leader we need for Africa, for us to develop, to join the developing countries and develop further and reach the sophisticated countries. So that's what I could have said so far. Yeah. Yeah.
And definitely need leaders who are going to be able to contribute.
Yeah.
Africa where regional integration is appreciated.
Yeah.
The question then is, if we are looking for that type of leadership, are we prepared enough of that type of leaders? Do we have enough programs in the continent to prepare that type of leaders? To answer that question, we have a poll that we are running throughout this call, and I'm going to request my colleague Ivan to launch the poll. Then you can go onto the poll and just answer. The first question is going to be asking you about whether or not we are preparing enough leaders for the Africa we want. And then it will have other follow-up questions that will be asking you about some of the influential people you'd like to see being invited to a training program, what topics you'd like to see us covering. So please get onto the poll and answer it. Ivan, are you ready for us?
Yes.
Okay, so while Ivan is launching the poll, let me explain to you where you'll find it. If you're using a computer, at the bottom of your screen, there's a green thing that says share screen. Next to it, the poll will appear there. So it will say polling, you tap onto polling, and then you'll be able to access the poll. Answer all the questions. After you answer all the questions, you will click submit, okay? If you're using an iPhone, the word poll or poll ongoing is going to appear at the top of your screen. Touch the word poll ongoing and it will open the poll, and then you can answer all the questions and then click submit. If you don't submit, we will not have your answers. And then the third option for those who are using Android phones, it's also going to appear on your screen, and it's going to prompt you to answer the questions. So please answer each of the questions, click submit, and then we continue with the conversation. But while that is going on, I'll continue asking questions. So you just fill the poll. At some point before 6 p.m., we're going to stop.
I think I have a quick problem. the poll popped up on my phone, and I answered the first question, and why answering the second one is a lost student. I don't know where to find.
It happened to me too.
It happened to me too.
I think it has come down. It's going to be logged in. It's going to be posted again. So don't panic. As soon as you see it, you answer the poll questions as we continue with the discussion.
Okay.
So just before the end of the conversation, we'll stop it so that we get the feedback, and then Ivan is going to share with us what we are all saying about those questions. But while we are waiting, I'll go to my next question, which is question number 2. What are some of the existing trainings or training programs or training fellowships that you know of that are trying to prepare young leaders in Africa? Is there any program either that you have been a part of, or any program that that you have heard of that you would have loved to be a part of but haven't had a chance to be a part of, that is training young leaders in Africa that you know of? I see your hand up, Gatiek Gatquoth Wichard. I hope I have pronounced your names right. Gatiek? Gatiek, unmute yourself, please, and give us your answer. If there are any training programs for youth leadership in Africa that you know of, and if you can tell us who is running those programs.
Maybe I can talk.
Ali is running those. We can't hear you. While we are waiting for Gatiek to sort out his microphone, let me give Sami Aisau a chance. Sami Aisau, I see your hand up.
Yeah.
Please,
I'm just answering the poll.
Any programs you know, and who is running those programs, and what kind of programs are they for leadership development?
Repeat the question, please. May you repeat the question?
Which programs exist in Africa, and especially North Africa, for training young leaders, and who is running those programs?
Well, for North Africa, and I think for the whole continent that I know, there is like the Ministry of Youth and Sports of Egypt. They're running like good programs for leadership and everything, but they're like making a fellowship and sponsorship for that program for everyone. But for all countries, like when I see in North Africa, any country have its own program. Any country has its own foundations. They're skilled country. Like here, for example, here for Algeria, we do like trainings for in the ICT. We do training for leaderships and technical things. So about like how to say governance or political affairs and international relations, it will come later, but it's not now. So for this initiative and everything, like you lead and all this process, it will be great to make a good training program for all Africans, all youth or African youth, and will be, as how to say, it will be a framework for the Agenda 2063, and maybe those youth will be the leaders of tomorrow, who will be like at the African Union or at their governments. For me, when for the first question, what I want to see as leaders, or what I want to see leadership for Africa, well, the answer is like simply, I want to see like Mr. Ambassador Saleh Hamad as a leader, and what people do, and what he did, and all AGA did or do, because the African governance architecture is the framework of the good governance. And when we say good governance, it will mean and will represent the good leadership, because leadership, it's not like something easy, it's a skill. And so we know that skills can be learned and can be like, how to say, hiba, how to say, not a donation. can be like a gift from God as a blessing. So those things should have time and should take time. It's not like for today or tomorrow or maybe those years, but it will have its outcomes in the following years. Well, when we say like leadership or leaders, seriously, I don't like that that word, leadership and leaders, but because there is some people or some persons that don't take it as a serious responsibility. When we say a leader, it's a good and great responsibility. When like here, for example, at with Maha at the Chamber of Commerce, I am a member at Chamber of Commerce, African Chamber of Commerce. I am an UIV African Union Youth Volunteer. On my network are people that know me. When they tell me you are a leader or call me a leader, I don't like it because I don't see I am a leader. I'm not just a simple person, a simple youth who is doing his thing, doing his better to make this process, make it great and make it a prosperous. So the Africa we want should be a great framework and call for everyone, for every person, as how we say, like international, intergeneration dialogue, like from Mr. Ambassador Saleh Hamad, for every aspect, directorate, department at the African Union or any government, like we should do it and we should proceed for that. I ask all youth present here to try to reach their governments, National Council, Parliament, Ministry of Youth, or directorate or departments to reach for like programs and try to make it bigger. Try to disrupt it, guys. Try to disrupt it. So this is my talk, and I finished. Thank you.
One of the things we will do with this manual is to prepare modules that will help leaders like you who are making a difference but don't consider their contribution to the leadership to begin exercising it with the seriousness that it needs, so that if even the people who are running small projects in the community will know that they're being leaders and they need to exercise it with the seriousness that it needs. And of course, I agree with you that we need to be a disruptive kind of leaders, people who are going to create new ideas and go and change the world. I'm going to allow Hon Guanjiok. Guanjiok, what programs do you know of that are preparing leaders for Africa? Guanjiok, unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself, please. Thank you. Proceed.
Thank you, Stella. I'm Hon Guanjiok, working with Assistant Mission for Africa, one of the co-chair of civil society organization in South Sudan. We are running activities around transitional justice, social justice, activities around peace building around the country, economic empowerment through livelihood here in South Sudan. I've been engaged with the Yearly for Youth East Africa, where I've never participated personally at the head office in Nairobi, but I've been doing some activities and training with them online while in South Sudan. I want to come to the first question that you asked about the type of leadership that we need in Africa. Actually, on that question,
I actually want us to continue with the conversation so that we can talk about the kind of programs, because we don't want to focus on the type of leadership we want more than we want to focus on how we use that leadership.
Sorry?
I'm saying I want us to focus on what kind of training we need to put in place to get the kind of leadership we want.
Or what kind of training that we, okay, now on that question, the training that we need to cut out to get the type of leadership that we want is to engage the youth to have a full understanding on how to embrace their own culture and their own identity, so that they could be able to live to the full expectation of their own culture and understand it more better. As you can see, this is one of the key things that we need to do, because now embracing other cultures make people now to think maybe their own culture is nothing that can help them in doing greater things in the community and also around the continent.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that. The question is on the chat in Arabic. Please, if you want to respond there, respond in Arabic or in English or in French. The training already being done to prepare young leaders, and tell us if you know who is organizing the training. Someone as Model African Union Ethiopia, and they're talking about that as a platform for development. I'm going to allow. I had seen a lady. I'm trying my best to make sure that. Okay, then let me allow Prince Lekan Fadina, whose hand has been up for some time, to give us their feedback. Please, I need to see a lot of activity in the chat room. Comment as much as possible, post, answer the questions from there, and if you still have answers to the questions I've already passed, please continue typing. Prince?
Is it you give me?
We can hear you.
I mean, you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Malaku. I'm Model Africa Union Ethiopia founder and chairperson. And I'm pleased to meet you all for this impactful meetings, and very important for during this time. I would like to just to answer with the first questions. What kind of leadership that the African youth would like to know? I mean, should we have now? So I think as it's a kind of it's a participatory types of leadership. So you see, Africa currently is facing a lot of things, but still we didn't exist with our hands. So a lot of foreigners and Europeans and others still there interfering. So we are, you believe me or not, we are still in colonization, in the post-colonization era. So as a youth, we have to know all the things that we that will face from different directions of the continent. So to solve those problems, we have to have a participatory type of leadership, because as I know, most of we all Africans speak about Africa from our mouths. Africa is in our mouths, not in our action. So we need Africa into the actions. Okay, it's not only on our mouths. So the first answer will be with that. And the second that you told me, like with the leadership, you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you know any training programs that are preparing young leaders for the kind
of? Yeah, so far I participated in different youth programs in different parts of the regions, but the one even in in Africa Union around us. But the one that I find which is a good one is like the African YALI, or the which is impactful and which is making an impact on the youth, on the individual, as well as to the organizations, even the continent or a national wide. So this kind of leadership, it's very important, because some of them just like having fun. So they call you with the leadership, but you will have fun and you will come. So it might be lecture. So since I know this one is very important, and if we face this kind of leadership in all the regions in related to Pan-Africanism, this is very important, because we all miss Pan-Africanism, as we didn't understand Pan-Africanism as our fathers and our ancestors understand. So we need Pan-Africanism leadership in nowadays. So this is my.
I hear you. I hear you. Let
Yeah,
me allow
thank you so much.
And I can see there's a lot of information coming in the chat. I see Jean-Baptiste Timbo has said that we need a leadership that can lead to pragmatic change. We need a leadership that is flexible and responsive to everyone's contribution. We need a leadership that goes beyond rhetoric to offer real and realistic solutions to African problems. And we want leadership that takes social realities into account. Allow me to ask the next question. I'm going to be going to my question number 5. And I want to know, amongst the programs that you know, the leadership programs that you're already talking about, Sami talked about the program by the Ministry of Sports, and a number of you have mentioned the YALI program. What topics do they cover? What topics do they cover? And do you think those topics are enough, or are there other topics that you think they should cover? I'm going to... The ladies in the room, I don't seem to be hearing your voices much. Please.
Not coming shortly.
Let me give Judge Prince a chance first, and then we shall take Omar Ben Labra. Judge Prince, unmute yourself. While we are waiting for Judge Prince, Omar, are you ready to give your input?
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
One of the co-hosts, please help me highlight.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you very well. Okay, we could hear someone, but we've lost them. I'm not sure who that was who was speaking. Omar Ben, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Please unmute yourself and give us your feedback.
Yeah, okay. So basically, your question was related. First of all, let me introduce myself to you guys. My name is Omar Balawi, and I'm a youth activist in my society in the northern region of Morocco, basically North Africa. So I'm studying in English literature, 3rd year in the university, and I'm part of the Youth Leadership Council of Morocco, as I've been like participating in many leadership programs during the past 5 years. And just to answer to your question, if our trainings or the program that we've been like participating in are effective to make a change in our continent, which is Africa. My answer to this question is yes, some sort of, because the international development projects or programs cannot like give you all the trainings that you need so you can like build a new mindset or change the fact that's happening in our beloved continent. But what I'm saying is that sometimes in these programs, they give us just a hint. If you know what I'm talking about, they give us just a hint. They introduce us to leadership so we can take the action or make an impact. Okay, we are the leaders. We the initiative should start within us, not from the international development, I don't know, organizations or some people who are ruling our countries, because we are the youth and the change should come from us, okay? So anything that's gonna happen in the future is gonna happen because of us. If we didn't try now, we won't see the results in the future. So what I'm saying is that the trainings that the International Development Project or the development project in general gave us are enough for us to take the action. They are not enough to make a change, because we will see the change in the long term. Okay, we won't see a change within 1 hour or 5 months from the project. Sorry. So yeah.
I have a question for you. For the training programs that you know that are going on in Africa, what topics do they normally teach about?
Okay, there were like 3 main topics that we were like being trained and worked on. The first one is the governance, okay, the local democracy and the self-governance. The second one is about like the way counter the hate speech and you know, I forgot the term in English.
C'est quoi le nom؟ قولها بالعربي ولا بالفرنسي؟
التدريب ضد التطرف العنيف.
Training against extremism
and
violence.
Violence, extremism, yeah, exactly.
Violence,
yeah. And there were like some sort of great or some impactful organization who worked in this topic, which are like master of these topics, like the International Organization for Immigration, for example, or as in my position, we were being trained by the Search for Common Ground. I guess you all know about Search for Common Ground. Basically, that's its mission, is to train some group of people, associations, counter the violence extremism. And and the third topic was about like the creation of the startups, okay, social startups, and how you can like build some sort of innovative project that will make you some sort of like having some individual or secured financially, and at the same time you will provide some amount for your community. So it's like these topics, basically.
I hear you. Thank you very much for that input. I think it's very important. And I hear you also saying that the training should not just be a tester, it should go deep into what youth need to know about leadership and prepare them for leadership.
Stella, can I add something?
Just a moment. I don't know who's asking. If you raise your hand up in the
okay.
Is it Maha?
Hello. Yeah, it's me, Maha.
Maha, okay, please.
I would like to.
Thank you. What I like to add, according to my experience, that this kind of training, it wasn't a practical training. According to my experience, the only practical training which I got, it was the AUYVC, and especially when I moved to China, for the only one reason, because before when I attend training, generally it was gender, human rights. Okay, I'm an author, I'm a storyteller, I'm an artist too, but the training which is civic engagement training, I didn't get a solution from it. I learned a beautiful thing. I learned about the human rights values. I learned about how to debate, but I didn't save my community. The only time when I felt that I'm useful to my community is when I moved to China. I start to train people on artificial intelligence, because through that I find solution, and I'm fighting against unemployment. So, you know, I'm activist since 2011, and I felt that I'm useful on 2018.
I know.
That's too long time. Like for around 10 years. Like, and I do each and everything. I attend the whole conferences. I'm a young champion, whatever, but feeling satisfied inside you, it comes only 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And this is the problem with that kind of programs which we are getting through from Westernal or from whatever, because like Chinese said, this is what we learn, that we have to own the technology, have to own the economic solutions. We are not here to debate or to talk about things which not our needs. This is the problem. I'm not against talking about human rights or gender or extremism. No, we have to. But is it the basics needs? Do you think, is it the basics?
Thank you very much.
I think the basics need the sovereignty.
You've also managed to answer a question about the kind of topics they were talking about. You talked about debate. You talked about nationalism. I also heard you talking about gender and the likes. But then I also hear you say that they need it for me, everyone else.
Yeah, I understand.
So thank you very much for that input. I'm seeing a few more hands up. Isaac Supu, your hand is up. Please make your input quickly. Thank you, Maha.
Welcome, thank you.
Yes, you recognize me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I think you talk about, hello, are you getting me?
Yes, what are the topics?
Yes, basically there are a few programs across Africa, most to be particular in West Africa that I know about, like the Youth Anti-Corruption and Integrity Summit that is organized annually by the Students Against Corruption. And that anti-corruption summit usually talks about anti-corruption related issues, how to prevent corruption, or providing more education and awareness in the fight against corruption and promoting leadership. And she talks about the practical aspect. After that, that conference, young people are always sent in their rural communities as integrated ambassadors to carry these messages across. And I think that's one of the main things that I will always talk about is one thing. It's usually held in Liberia, the Youth Anti-Corruption Integrity Training. And another thing, another topic or program is the Young Political Leaders School that is also held there. We have young people from across Africa that go to Liberia. It's organized by NAMOT, and they teach people about leadership, political leadership. Basically, it's about political leadership in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for that. I see on the comments, Miriam says she agrees with Maha on the input she made. I also see Omar is talking about the fact that we all have been in a position looking for a sense of belonging. So what I hear you saying, Omar, is that maybe we also need self-identity and self-identity and self-value training as we are developing a manual. Miriam, did you want to say something?
Yeah, my name is Miriam. I am from Algeria, North Africa, and I am representing Algeria Youth Ambassadors Foundation. Well, I totally agree with what Maha said. What I want to add is we don't have the practical part. Like in these programs, we don't have the practical part. For example, we need to teach our youth how to find a solution. In my experience, they teach us always how to look for the problem, but they didn't teach us how to find the solution for that problem. Also, we need to help them finding like debating how they can be, how can they show the best of themselves. Also, how can they be ambitious, and the best way, how can they compete and raise go out of their comfort zone and be ambitious and stalk their mind out. This is the point I want to add. Thank you.
So Mariam, before you go, I would like to ask you, how do you think, what do you think would be the best way to teach the practical lesson, like to give the experience and the experiential learning? Is it mentorship? Is it coaching? Is it attachments after the training? What would you propose?
In my experience, is coaching is better. For example, you can start with a group of 10 people and put them in the situation where they can practice that problem and find, for example, the solution of that issue, I guess. And of course, we need to follow up with them, like I don't know, maybe for 2 months or 3 months, and until they will be ready. Then we go for the next group. Like in these programs, what I saw, like we have they focus on the quantity of people they are attending or being a member in this groups, but they are not focusing on the quality. Like imagine in a conference there is more than 100 people. I'm 100% convinced that not like 20% of them, they will be understanding or practicing the knowledge they get.
That's true. I agree with you. I see your hand up, Gatiek. I really see you trying to request me that you speak, but every time I ask you to speak, we can't hear you. Please try now, Gatiek, unmute yourself. Gatiek, Gatkuot Wicham.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to thank you for sharing this meeting with African youth across the continent. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Gatiek Gatkwaswishar, as you can see, and I'm from South Sudan. I'm graduate of Ensham University in Cairo, Egypt, Faculty of Law, and I'm Information Secretary at South Sudan Youth Forum for Free Dialogue. So it is a non-profit platform, that bring young South Sudanese together to share ideas, developmental ideas that can benefit them in the future and present. Basically, I would like to thank also an engineer Ioannis, who has always been engaging me, to participate in this program. I'm very grateful for that. And I'm actually one of active youth here in Cairo, and I participate in a different youth forum or different youth platform that engage young people.
Thank you for that, but I would really want to request you to go directly to the question so that we create time for others to speak. I have a whole queue of people.
All right. So I think I can hear the same question I can answer the same question that has been asked before. Or do you have any new question for me?
Well, I had asked what are the topics that are covered in any of the training programs that you know for youth leadership, and I asked what proposals you can make or what examples you want to give for ways in which you can build experience for that leadership for youth. But while you're thinking about your answer, let me allow you all.
I'm ready. Let me talk. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. For here in Cairo, Egypt, we have we have a forum centers for developing young people and grooming them to be future leaders in Africa. We have African League of Young Masters, which is owned by Professor Dr. Salah Suleiman, and we have another youth movement, which is also founded by one of African youth activists from Egypt called Hasan Ali Ghazali. And those centers, they are good, you know, and the vision and mission of all those platforms is all to engage the young people, you know, to ensure that the the leadership that we want in Africa is achieved. And in my own view, the leadership that African want, you know, it's a leadership which is not even different to the leadership that our forefathers advocated for. Those of Patrick Lumumba, those of Nasser Jamal Abdel Nasser, and those of Kwame Nkrumah from Ghana. So the difference is a consciousness and awareness among young people, you know, and social networking, like what we are doing now. We are African youth who, you know, come from different diversity, you know, but we are now connected, and we understand more than that time, because that time maybe 70 to 80% were not aware, and were not even informed about the significance of Africanism, you know, like Pan-Africanism. So in this juncture, we can utilize this, you know, situation. Like now young people are aware, and they are now trying to know the identity as African, and they understand better that Africa needs exactly a leadership where, you know, where it's defined in the context of Africa, which is not, you know, being preached or being established from colonial, you know, perspective, Western design. So we need Africa. We need a leadership in Africa, you know, where Africa, you know, run their own country. Africa, you know, design their own leadership, not copy and paste from Western world. So this is what I can say, you know, it's good for us as African. And yeah, thank you.
Very much for that. Allow me to pick Ahmed Nazar. Ahmed Nazar, please give us your feedback. Your hand has been up for quite some time.
Thank you for putting me again. What I've noticed of all the fellows' answers is they all talk about the leaders that they're all talking about the vision. Like no one missed that point, the vision point, and that was what I was talking about from the first place, because the vision can't be so clear unless you put it with media. You need media to insert that type of things in people's minds and emotions, not just their minds and their senses as well, because media affects your thoughts and your emotions. They don't just affect your thoughts. It's not like writing or reading, because it has sounds, it has a lot of things, and with technology and with the phones and all of that, we can actually start a revolution, not just
We're losing you, not just a what?
I was saying we can start a revolution and not just be thinking on a less scope than a revolution. Because what's a revolution?
Before you explain what a resolution is, Nazar, we are actually past that place of a revolution, and we are talking about how we can prepare a new leadership for Africa.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not about organizing, but it's about what kind of leadership we want to prepare and what tools we are going to use to prepare them.
Okay.
What topics are covered in the training programs that you know of, and how do you feel like those topics are enough, or we need to teach on more topics?
Okay. To be honest, I'm Sudanese. I live in Sudan, and Sudan is an Afro-Arabian country, and it's going towards the Arabian side more than the African side. So we don't have that much of Pan-Africanists. I don't know how to say it in English, but I hope you get what I'm saying. So
say it in Arabic or French. Say it in Arabic or French.
In Sudan, we don't have we don't have a Pan-Africanist.
Pan-Africanism, I think this is what he means.
No, I mean it's
على
people.
أحمد تتكلم على فكرة الوحدة
الافريقيه انه فكره وحده افريقيه صح ولا؟
ايوه بتكلم عن فكره الوحده الافريقيه، بس هي هنا في السودان ما عندها not a lot of people know about it in Sudan.
اي لكن حتى هذه ازمه شمال افريقيا كلها والمنطقه العربيه يعني. قل لهم انه عندنا، قل لهم انه فما مشكله في الانتماء لمشروع الوحده الافريقيه، واللي هذايا ماهوش مشكله شمال افريقيا فقط، هذا مشكله كل القاره، فلا تقسو على السودان وانت تتحدث. اوكي
نعم
انه كل القاره تفكر بالطريقه دي.
شكرا لك والله كلامك صح كله. But what I meant is that Sudan, we just came out of a revolution, and that revolution, what really helped the revolution, there was a guy named Matar, and most of his friends were like influencers, and they were musicians and artists, and he was surrounded by these people. So the moment Matar died, they had the idea of putting that on social media. And we also have a lot of people, like Sudanese people who live outside of Sudan. So they helped a lot when they cut the internet from Sudan. So what I'm saying is a hashtag happened. It was called Blue for Sudan, and it really helped the revolution. It put the spots on the revolution, and you see the amount of impact social media did on the scene on Sudan today. And now everyone knows about their rights. Everyone knows about a lot of things. And well, I'm sorry for taking too much time. What I'm saying is يعني, the take-home message is Pan-Africanism is about putting Africa together, and the closest thing to that is social media. So we should use social media and put it as a priority in doing that.
Excellent. I hear you, Ahmed Nazar. I'm actually noting that you are proposing that in the training manual we should include media and communication, and we should focus on social media.
Yeah, and also support actors and support movies and support all these kind of things, because Africans need to know about themselves. That's one of the biggest problems in Africa, because most of Africans, because of the colonizations and the things that happened and the languages that's been implanted in Africa. Like for example, I am a Nubian. And I don't know my own language. Because I've been living in Khartoum, and Khartoum is the only place that can be a nice place to live. You get what I'm saying? So it's not just me. A lot of Africans has been living like that. So we don't know our own heritage. We don't know. We have a lot to do to the past and a lot to do to the future. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you very much for that. I'm going to allow George Prince Sapei to make his contribution, but while he's
you're welcome.
Let me also remind us that we have people who are watching the conversation or following the conversation live on Facebook and YouTube. Please, if you're on Facebook and YouTube, add your comments there. We are going to look at all those platforms and collect the comments and include them in the feedback from this meeting. George Prince Sapei, unmute yourself. George Prince?
You hear me?
Yes. No, this is not George Prince, or this is Prince Lekan.
Okay, Stella, can I go ahead because I have a connection issue here?
I need to pick you when you lift up your hand so that we make sure that okay, we can't find George Prince. Lekan, are you ready?
Yes, Stella, can I step in?
Are you? No, just a moment. I'll tell you. Prince Lekan, are you ready? Okay, then Kak, proceed. Kak, you can proceed. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Now I think it's clear. You get me right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to catch you up. Of course, I catch you up late and being in work and all that. So my idea is very simple. I just want to do some of the big contribution about the Pan-Africanism. Actually, a lot of very young people, the emerging leaders, they're given a very great insights, which I really appreciate. What I would like to say is currently now I'm in Pan-African Youth Union, headquartered here in Khartoum, as I'm speaking. It is a union that guides all the young people of the African continent. And it is actually a great privilege for young people to have conversation like this so that we can share the idea together and to see what would be the way forward. Yes. I see the Pan-Africanism, by the way, many have a perception of the whole, trajectories where our grand leaders they have took, especially those of Julius Nyerere, Kwame Nkrumah, and all that. So that Pan-Africanism was based on the fighting for the independence. So now we are in the era whereby the independence is already given to us, and we are in a different era with that Pan-Africanism that our leaders have been into. So the way forward is here. First of all, the young people need to organize themselves to see the Afro-location when this great leader was fighting together in order to have the independent states and to be given a freedom to have their own government and to rule themselves. So it is a different from the current era where we're now in with the young people. I see that this era, it needs a different strategic. Yes, pardon? Okay. So our strategy is here. The Pan-Africanism that we need to plan in ourselves, it has to be based about the networking. Now we have this issue of the African Youth Corps, where the young people are taught about how to make a digital, an African that is digital, an African that is free of economic crisis, an African where there will be a gun silence. In fact, the strategies now that we need to apply, it could not base with the strategy that we have during the past. So we need new strategies, like the way we can develop it in technology, we can advance, and also in stabilizing the economy through the entrepreneurship. The young people need that. And for us to go forward as a young people, we need to recognize our manpower, because it is how we could change the trajectory, not about reading the stories of the past, not about reading the story of the slavery, about Africa. So we need to recognize the fact that the power that we need, it is within us. And we need to believe that we are the potential change makers of the Africa we want. So the African Union this year is advertising the gun silence. And up to now, the gun is no silence. And the people that carrying the guns are the young people. So what is the problem? Why the young people are carrying the guns? And why they're...
Allow me to stop you. I don't want us to agonize. Here today, we are providing solutions. That is why we are asking if we are to prepare a leadership that is going to silence those guns you're talking about, then what topics do we need to teach them? No?
All right. The best way forward is to accommodate the views of the young people through the generational leadership process, especially in the decision and the policy making, because young people there is a leadership gap in Africa. If you see the problem, the issue is about the leadership gap. So the leadership gap is what now affecting the young people, because they are not seeing themselves in the image of the leadership. So in order for us to have this Africanism, we need to incorporate the young people in the policy and the decision making. So I think this would be the arrival of the Pan-Africanism that we want and the Africa that we want. So thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you very much for that. I'm going to ask Akwot Sarah to get ready to speak next. You're going to give us your feedback. But I want to ask the next question so that as you're giving us your feedback, you'll also answer the next question. Our hosts Any of my co-hosts, please assist George Prince Tapei. He's saying he's trying to talk, but he's not being heard. So please try and help him on the background so that we see if we can hear what he has to say. Akwot Sarah, as you are giving your feedback, I would like to hear from you. What is the importance of mentorship? We are now moving to our question number 10. What is the importance of mentorship in a leadership training program? Akwot Sarah?
Yes, please.
Excellent. You can hear.
Yes, I can hear you well. Hello.
Yeah, question?
Hello.
I'm saying I'm giving you a chance to give your input because your hand is up. And then if you can
right.
the question of what is the importance of mentorship?
Okay. I would like to just give a vote of appreciation for the for the chance to be among these African youth who are talking about how we are going to develop Africa, especially via leadership. And by the names of Kwot Sarah from South Sudan. I am a chairperson of a women-led organization called Women Voices of Hope for the Vulnerable, an organization that is catering for the vulnerable and as well engaging youth in many different aspects. We are based in South Sudan. Again, also I am part of the African Rebirth. If you know about African Rebirth, and I'm the ambassador to South Sudan. African Rebirth also works on youth and African young leaders
Allow me to request that you focus on answering the question. You can put the introduction on the chat room like everyone else has.
All right, thank you. I will just go straight. Yes, the question says, what is the importance of mentorship, right? In leadership training. Yes, mentorship really helps you to focus, especially when you are an aspiring youth. When you are mentored, you get to transform yourself. If you are someone who was not like if you are not focusing on what you really want or what is your career or what you want to do, when you are mentored, you get to learn a lot of positive things that you did not know about yourself. So mentorship can heal you from emotional distress, can also can open your mind. When you're mentored, you get to learn a lot of things through mentorship. You can transform yourself. You can actually focus on what you want to carry on as a leader. As myself, as a quad, I aspire to be a leader, and I'm already carrying on with my leadership career. So whenever I get mentored, I feel I'm in another level of leadership. I get to learn my mistakes. I get to learn my updates about myself, and I also get to know that when you are mentally healthy, you get to produce better ideas and better plans. So basically, that's all I can say, that mentorship is very important in leadership. So mentorship is the first thing we need to focus on when we are training leaders. And thank you.
Do you think it would be important for us to include mentorship programs in the training program that we are planning?
Come again.
Do you think it would be important for us to include mentorship?
No. Very well.
Hello?
We need to include mentorship, and then healing, emotional healing is also part of mentorship. When you are mentored, you get to relieve yourself from many problems. So also healing, like emotional healing, should also be part of the programs. Okay?
Emotional healing can also come in, it can mostly come in the form of coaching.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I still see a lot
Hello,
of
Stella.
Any question?
Hello, Stella.
That's fine. That's fine, Akutara.
Hello, Stella.
I can see all the hands up. Please let me choose you from the participant list with your hand up so that you speak. Otherwise, we are not going to have order. Yeah.
Hello, Stella.
George Prince, I can hear you, but I'm asking you to please wait. I'm going to give you a chance to speak. Okay, George, I'm going to give you a chance to speak. Just wait. At least now we can hear you. So we are hearing conversations, and from Sarah's response, we hear you saying that mentorship is important, but she's also talking about healing. And healing may not happen in the body of a mentorship program, but it can happen within a coaching program. And so maybe we need to explore deeper and see, what kind of coaching then would happen in that space for that kind of healing to happen. George Prince, as you're speaking, you have been trying to speak for a long time, so I know you may have a lot to speak, but I'm going to request that you keep it short and just give your feedback quickly. And while you're responding, please answer the question on the importance of guest speakers and role models in a training program. I would also want to see some comments on the chat about guest speakers and who, for example, you'd propose to be invited as a guest speaker for the training program that is going to result from this consultation. George Prince, unmute yourself now and speak. George Prince?
Okay, I said, can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me?
Prince, are you logged in on two different Zoom addresses? Because then that may be the reason why you're having a problem. But allow me to proceed, please. In the chat room, please type in the names of influential Africans or role models that you think would be good to be invited in the training program if we eventually succeed in putting together this manual. So please put the names in the chat rooms of the names of people you'd want to see invited. Your gut quote. Your hand has been up for a very long time, and now I think I can give you a chance to give your feedback.
Thank you so much. I've been waiting for you guys, to raise my voice.
Thank you for your patience.
I'm sorry?
I'm saying thank you for your patience.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. My name is Yoel Gatkwat from South Sudan. Actually, it's very important, to come together as young people of this continent, to share our idea based on the issue of our continent, of our African, the Pan-Africanism that we are really advocating for. So I will not take time. I will not take too much time on the issue, but I will especially focusing on the mentorship part. Because, the problem with African is the mindset, we are still behind the thing that we are really focusing on. So you can see there's a lot of young people outside there, they are really trying their level best to get out into their comfort zone, to advocate for the African that we want. So I think mentorship is very important indeed, to mentor young people or to coach them, to know exactly, to develop their talents and also to develop their personal development. It is very important, to focus on those things. And also, the problem with us is because we leave behind the emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is very important. That's why you see a lot of African leaders are too much corrupt, they are too much corrupt, on the issue of that, because we did not give the right guidance since we are still young people, like in the level that I'm at. For example, I personally, I grew up in a refugee camp in where there's no even mentorship, there's no whatever. So it's very difficult, Even I could not even go to rely that I'm really good at this. Despite, for example, I did psychology, right? It is very important, but it was just going there to study psychology and whatever, and come back and get job done and boom. It's not something that we really need. So what I'm trying to say is we need to have mentorship class. We need to coach young people. And second is that we need to have a civic education. civic education on good governance and democracy, because we have a lot of things here. We have a lot of issues that need to be done, that. So I think we need to have those kind of skills that we should have to put in place there where young people can get easily. Because when you get mentorship skill, when you get coaching, you will know exactly that who you are. The problem with us is lack of self-identity. That's the biggest problem now. So when we know ourselves exactly that, yes.
I have a question
for
you.
Then, yeah, okay. Cool.
If mentorship was to happen, who are the role models you propose to be included in the program?
Absolutely, that's the question that I really want to even to answer. Even to ask even before. I have a mentor. I have a guy who coached me. I don't know him before. Like we met in a conference, and then after that, he was really impressed by the way that I'm trying. I'm pushing myself, to go out of my comfort zone. His name is Ibrahim Sese. Ibrahim Sese is a Gambian. He's a Gambian guy. His name is Ibrahim Sese. He's a brilliant. He's a night guide. I hope if you invite him, for the mentorship, he will. He taught me with a vision of permit, the permit of vision itself, it's very important, to adapt those things. Second is that we need to engage those YALI, those regional centers like YALI, East Africa. So they have, like, for example, there is a code called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That course, it's really changed my life now. It's very important, to include those things, into our module or into our manual, and then it will help young people to go outside to back and whatever. So thank you so much, and thank you so much to my brother there, and also is my mentor. Is my mentor even. I want to name his name. It's called John Ioannis. Is inside here. Is a good even. He has some kind of a scale and whatever. So I really like him. To be in there, and also it's a pleasure. To have you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. That gives us a vote of confidence that we are collaborating with the right young people in the continent to convene this meeting. I see Sarah has clarified the healing that she was referring to, is that Africans have gone through a lot of emotional issues, especially in South Sudan. They suffer emotionally on the aspects of political, social, and economic situations, and therefore that's the kind of healing she's referring to. I need to see some comments in the comment section about the names of people that you would recommend as role models to be included in the program in the training program for Africa. I see Sarah has proposed Enoch Tumine. She says this is the founder of African Rebirth. So if you type the name of someone, it would be nice if you can also say why you think there would be a good role model to be included in the program. Sarah, you say Enoch is from Uganda and is based in Canada. Any other proposals of people you can invite as guest speakers, role models for the training program? George Prince says Dr. Thomas Mensah, Dr. Thomas Mensah, and he says inventor of fiber optics. So we need as many proposals coming from you. Sarah says Michael Malwal Ball. Please give us a name and the reason why you think it would be good for us to invite them. But while you're giving us those names, type as many names as possible. We'll consider everyone, and then of course we'll come down with a short list of the people we are going to engage for the program, because not all mentors can be invited, not all role models can be invited onto the program. But while you're at it, I'm suggesting that we all finish the poll and submit, because we're about to close it, and Ivan is going to give us the feedback from the poll shortly. So please, those of you who have not finished, please wind up, fill up whatever questions you have not filled up and submit, and then we will close it in about 2 minutes. Any other names? Ahmed Aluch, give us the name of a person. You say Youth Without Borders in Tunisia. Give us the name of a role model or a speaker or a guest that should be invited for the training program eventually when we roll out the training. I don't know if I saw any other names. There must be people who inspire you, in North Africa. There must be people who have left, a good image in your mind as far as the progress they have made. So give us the names of those people so that when the training comes, they shall be included. Ngwanjiok proposes Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, and PLO Lumumba from Kenya, because he says because they always talk facts about the situation. Ngwanjiok, you'll be pleased to know that these names came up quite a number of times yesterday in the East Africa consultation. So the fact that they're coming up in this consultation means that then they have a vote of confidence from all of you. Any other names? Please include them in the chat. Type out all of them and tell us why we should invite them. Ivan, I think this is a good time to close the poll and give us the results.
Okay, last minute chance, in case anyone has not yet responded, because we have a rather slow rate of response. So if you haven't answered yet, at least 1 or so seconds, can you still see the poll, or it disappeared?
I can't see it on my end, but maybe you can put it up now so that we have
well, it might have disappeared, but fine. Let's just go straight to the results because of time. So can you see the results?
Yes, we can see the results.
Good. So our first question was whether we are preparing enough leadership. And 62% of us think yes, we are preparing enough leadership. Existing youth leadership trainings, are they accessible? 57% says yes, they are accessible. In terms of topics that we would love to see in the program, democratic governance and good governance values are rated at 81% as important. ICT and artificial intelligence, this is Maha's darling, is rated at 62% as important for the manual. And strategic communication for impactful leadership in Africa is also important at 62%. Public sector leadership and management skills at 38%. Self-leadership and management as a foundation for leading others at 29%. And transparency, integrity, and the control of corruption in Africa at 48%. Resource mobilization, management, and utilization at 38%. Understanding the African Union and the African Union Agenda 2063 at 43%. African identity, social values, and diversity at 52% approved. International relations, cooperation and negotiations in Africa, 67% approved. Which of the following eminent leaders do you want to see in the training facilitators team or even guest speakers? Aya Shebi, African Union former youth envoy, 43%. People want to see her in the faculty of the future training. PLO Lumumba is a Pan-Africanist and anti-corruption crusader. People want him at 62%. His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo President of Ghana is wanted at 38%. Brian Kagoro is a Pan-Africanist as well, is wanted at 19%. His Excellency Arikana, former permanent representative of AU to the US, is wanted at 24%. Honorable Bogoro, former cabinet minister of investment and trade in Botswana, is wanted at 10%. Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former president of Liberia, is wanted at 29%. And Mr. Aliko Dangote is a Nigerian businessman and philanthropist. He is wanted at 19%. Mo Ibrahim is wanted at 19%. And finally, former Director of Political Affairs at the African Union, Professor Kabele, is also approved at 29%. There are also a couple of names that have been suggested, already captured from yesterday's poll, including our own Ambassador Sela, who opened the meeting. And by the way, important to note that he's been with us all through, regardless of his very busy schedule. Those of you who do not know him yet, is the head of the African Governance Architecture Secretariat, the one behind each and everything you see here that is trying to give the space to young people in Africa to make a difference and to add to what Africa in 2063 will look like. So he is also here and he's been nominated in the earlier surveys and comments, and among a few others. And still, please keep the nominations coming. You can do even on our social media platforms after the meeting. You can send us an email. Stella can share the email that you can send your suggestions to. This continues until end of April. Stella, I want to beg to leave now, yeah, to get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ivan, for that. You have seen what your feedback is on the topics. You have seen what your feedback is on the people you need to invite. I'm still looking at the chat to see the proposals of the names of role models and mentors you'd like to see involved in the program. Miriam, I have not seen your proposal for a role model. Are there any other names of people you want to include on the list so that we don't close this list before you make your proposal? Any other proposals? Okay, then that if hold on, there's one more that is coming. Ibrahim Sise, there's Heba Hasan, there is Engineer John Magok, and there's Ambassador Salah. Miriam says Salah Eddin Taxer, the founder of Aya. Oh, it's Tayar, Salah Eddin Tayar. Okay. Any other proposals? Please, I need everyone to type the name of someone, a speaker, a role model, especially if you have not spoken in this consultation. This would be your good chance to tell us who you admire and you think should be included in the program. So while we are following up on that, if there's any other thing that you'd like to say at this point, any other idea that you want us to consider for the training manual that we have not brought up, this would be a good time to talk about them. So just raise up your hand if you have something to add, and then I'll give you a chance to make your input. Peter Kodzo, the General Secretary of the All Africa Student Union. Okay, noted. Prince Lekan Fadina. Prince Lekan Fadina, your hand is up. So please unmute yourself and say what you need to say.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we.
Okay. What I'm suggesting is that if you're doing a program on leadership, you should also entrench in it something on entrepreneurship. That will also take care of the point made by Moha in our presentation. Because one thing is, for a leader, we must start to think of creating jobs for people. We must move beyond people looking at public service as all in all. So we should build institutions rather than strong individuals. I was trying to tell you these are some of the things that we look at in our leadership and training center. If I have your details, I can send you some more details, but there is a need also to start to build social responsibility, public policy, looking at how do you manage political community, how do you manage economic environment, because those are issues that the leaders must know. The African leaders must know that it's not paying, it's not depositing money in Europe or in America. That time has passed. We need Africa must develop Africa. And that is something that is important. We must build confidence. We must encourage them in public speaking. Emotional intelligence has been mentioned, just as the case of Sudan. And we must also start drumming on global standards. There must be, we cannot just say Africa, this is African custom, this is African standard. The world has moved beyond that because the world is in your sitting room now. It's no longer anything. I must try to build trust and loyalty. And in the area of entrepreneurship, I think we must start to look at how do you market investment ideas? How do you create jobs? We are talking of African free trade. African free trade must be African free trade of the African people. We must break the barrier. People must trust each other. And then finally, we must leverage on technology. We must leverage on knowledge because we are talking about knowledge society, knowledge economy. We must think of innovation. And above all, we have to teach that it is no longer profit for profit. People must have a social conscience. And these are some of the issues, in my view, that we need to look at. If you are training leaders, they must also be able to appreciate what do we do with our natural resources. People are taking our cocoa away. People are taking our oil. What about the process of value chain? What about agriculture? Those are key issues we need to address. Those are the points I wanted to draw in. And I'm sharing this experience from our own here, from the Leadership Center, what we have done with Nigerian government, by one of the 6 institutions that gave them the template. So I think it can be done, and we need to move on and develop Africa of the people.
I hear you. Thank you very much for that input. Ismail Hasan Mohammed, I see your hand up. Ismail Hasan, unmute yourself.
Yes, I wanted to add about mentors. I suggested Osman Torre from Gambia, who is a young Pan-Africanist. I have typed it many times, but you are not seeing, I guess. Yeah, Osman Torre is from Gambia, a young Pan-Africanist.
Okay.
And the other thing that I wanted to add about Africa is to be addressed on the next meeting, I would have suggested that we need to address on infrastructure in terms of insecurity. We are having a lot of problem with insecurity as Africans. We need to figure out where this insecurity is coming from, because anytime you will hear a new group reorganized, a new group coming, whenever we try to cap or combat a new group, let me put in this way, whenever we try to combat a certain terrorist group, which is using a religious cover-up, we will hear another group forming. So we need to figure out where this thing is happening from Africa. There must be a great organization who are building those guys. for to lead Africa, not to develop, and to lead Africa always down. So we need to figure out that thing.
Thank you, Ismail. Thank you very much for
yeah.
The topics on the poll. One of the topics that got a very high with the security topic.
Yeah.
Covered under the area of security. Thank you also.
Welcome.
Included in the list of mentors and guest speakers. George Sapei, in half a second, please.
Yeah, hello. Please, am I being heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I would also like us to also consider sustainability in all the topics or discussions that we've had so far, because sustainability is the key in all our progress. And in our discourse of studies at the tertiary or any cycle of education, it will be of good for we to inculcate sustainability from humanity courses to the science field. And also at the basic level, it should be our best for we to also establish coach clinics. In their quest, they need to reshape and channel the thoughts and ideas of our young ones who are coming, for them to be able to responsible and take up roles as leaders or identify themselves as leaders in their young state as they grow. And also under security, much attention should also be given to cyber security, because Africa is now growing up in our transaction on the internet, and the threat that this cybersecurity poses is very huge, to the extent that even most advanced countries have difficulties in operating or defining this cybersecurity and even meeting measures to curtail the challenges that it poses. So as Africans, whilst we try in our quest to develop, we need to also be aware of the threat that it poses for we to start. Why am I stressing or putting much emphasis on it? It is a huge investment that you make, of which your citizens or citizens of Africans might not see in the interim. And hence, as leaders, we need to go beyond policies or projects that wins election, but rather ones that is of benefit, and the underlying comes in sustainability, which will help us.
George, I want to stop you there, because sustainability you have mentioned is covered under topic 2 on the poll.
Okay.
And it's 50%, so it will be covered. Leveraging on technology is covered under ICT. It is covered. You have talked about inclusivity, that also is covered within the other in the poll. So
okay.
Those in consideration. Thank you very much for that input, and especially for reminding us on the areas we need to cover on matters of web or internet security.
Welcome.
I'm going to give you all the second last chance, and then Miriam with the last contributor before I go back to give our guests from the AU a chance to make some statements. You all have a minute. You all, can you hear me? Okay, Miriam, you can take the floor.
1 second. Yeah, thank you so much. Well, I have a last message. What the issue I saw is like, we as African or North African especially, we don't know our leaders. We do have leaders. We do have people who can lead, but they don't have the spot on them, so we don't know them. I guess we need to put the lights on them and help our people know them. And the last message I need to tell Africans, like we need to, it's not impossible to change. We need to go out from our comfort zone, and we need to believe in ourselves and in our dreams, whatever they were. That's it. Thank you.
for that, Miriam. I agree with you. We need to highlight as many of our leaders as possible so that we stop admiring leaders from out there, because we have some very good quality leaders amongst ourselves who are doing a good job of trying to change our societies and make Africa a better place. With that, and I think that's a very good place to stop. We have Magda on the call. Magda is working at AGA. She is our contact there, and she has been helping us a lot with most of the thinking through this. And Magda, if you have something to say, this would be a good time to speak to our audience from North Africa. And then when you finish, I think it would be great to just allow Ambassador Salah to say something, especially because he has been gracious enough to stay with us to the end of the call. Magda?
Thank you very much, Stella. We've had the same conversation yesterday for East Africa, and every time we're having this conversation with young people, it amazes me of how much potential and how much ideas and innovation that we're receiving from all of these young people. For me, it has personally been a very eye-opening experience, and it reminds me of an African proverb that talks about the fool speaks, but the wise man listens. And for me, I think we're doing the same thing here. We're listening to you on your suggestions. We're listening to you on what you should think the Pan-African leadership program should look like, but also the leadership manual should look like. I know Ambassador Salah has said this in the beginning, but this has been in the works for quite some time. We have been planning to do this for quite some time. We have engaged young people in the past through our consultations, but now it has finally come to the fore, and I couldn't be happier. I think with that, for me, I just wanted to thank you for all of you for your time and also contributions. We have taken note, and I'm sure our team with you lead has also taken a lot of notes as well. So I just wanted to say thank you from my part for your time and energy. And I would like to take this opportunity to invite Ambassador Salah to come in and say a few things and help us close this meeting.
Thank you very much, Magda. You said it all, in fact, and I think what I could really say to just complement what you just have said is this is what we were really looking for, is to hear the thoughts and ideas that are in the minds of our young people in this region or in this part of Africa. The consultation will certainly continue to cover other parts of Africa. And I'm sure at the end we'll be able to share the outcome with all of those who have participated in all of these consultations. But as I mentioned earlier, the discussion, the conversation should not really end by the end of this meeting. We need to continue these conversations within our networks and with our friends and with our colleagues and with the people we know and with the people we don't even know. So we can then include those who were not able to be part of this conversation today. The dream is huge. I mean, building the Africa we want is not a simple task. But the decision has been made that we need to embark on this journey, and we began our journey, and there's nothing that will stop us from reaching our goal. But of course, to reach that goal, we have to be led by our young men and women. So there's really need for the development of a wise leadership that will continue the journey and then hand it over to another generation to come until we reach 2063. And by then, the Africa that is prosperous, united, and peaceful will be built. Each and every one of us has a role to play. each and every one of us must also contribute ideas and thoughts and proposals on how we can really develop this manual with all the elements that are needed to have a leadership that we as Africans could be proud of. And as I mentioned earlier, we're not only talking about political leadership, but we're talking about leadership across the board with emphasis on women leadership because they have been excluded for long. Now, at least we have a women president in Tanzania. We had one before in Malawi and one before in Liberia, but we need to see more. We need to see more, but also we need to bridge that gap between our leadership and our young men and women by having an intergenerational dialogue that will focus on sharing experiences and best practices. So then we will ensure that this leadership development is continuing until we all are all satisfied with the task that we have all accepted as a commitment to participate and to be part of building the Africa we want. Estella, you have done an excellent job today, as usual. So we thank you for your efforts. We thank Evan and all those who have participated and all of your partners. And please, don't stop the conversation today. Thank you very much. You have a nice evening.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Salah. We really appreciate even that encouragement. We will continue with the conversation after this. I have put an email on the chat room. If there's anything you have forgotten to say here, if there's any contribution you have made that you think, or anything you remember after the meeting, please send it to that email. That's Sebastian's email. He'll be following up on all the contributions you want to make. Feel free to write them in French or Arabic, whichever is comfortable for you. We will get translation internally. If you have any ideas that you want to propose for the training program as well, feel free to include them on that. We are so grateful, Ambassador Salah and Magda, for all the support we're receiving from you. We don't take it for granted that you are able to stay with us throughout the program and until the very end, and just to listen to the young people and the input that they're making. And as you can see, there's plenty they have to say about what needs to be done about the leadership in Africa and what a training program should address. At this point, I don't have any much more to add. We are going to compile everything that has come out of this meeting, and we are going to prepare a report for the North Africa consultation. But we are also going to gather information from that report to include in the training manual eventually when we embark on developing it. And so all of you who have accepted to be in this meeting today and have contributed will not regret the time you spent here today, because you are actually contributing in making history, and the continent in future is going to be depending on the quality of leadership that will come out of your workmanship today and in the coming days. We are not going to finish the conversation here. We'll still invite you for more consultations. We have a virtual roundtable coming very soon, where we will invite all of you to come and engage in more conversations and make more input to broad conversations on the manual itself and leadership for Africa. I'm going to invite John Magog to give a vote of thanks, especially because he played a huge role in the mobilization. John, please give a vote of thanks, and then we close the meeting for the day.
Thank you very much, Stella. And I would like also to thank all the participants who availed their time. And overall, thanks to Ambassador Salah and the AGA family, and to our moderator also, Stella, and the whole family of ULEAD, our main partner. Thank you for giving the young African a chance to come and put their idea forward in this co-creation process for a model that will be owned by the young people themselves. This process is very special because it's a young people driven, it's a youth driven, so it addresses our ideas, and it's good that we are part of it and we are together. And finally, I will just say it, Africa is no more Africa of potential, it is Africa of the day. It's Africa of today because of its young people who are doing incredible things. So let's work toward achieving the Agenda 23 And to remind you, it is only approximately 40 years from now. So it means young people need to champion this continental agenda to achieve the Africa we all want. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Wa salama.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Beatrice, you're going to give us I see you're ready for us.
East Africa's largest youth leaders gathering. 2019 unique summit theme was Youth Creation, Participation and Access to Opportunity.
You are welcome to ULEAD 2019, leaving no one behind. According to data, the world is a young world, and in particular, Africa is a young continent. So we are wondering, take over that region.
We think that the moment is now. We think that the potential exists. We think that you can actually make a difference and you can actually take this region to the next level.
The youth are not the leaders of tomorrow, but the leaders of today. And political seats are never given, they are taken.
So can we seek to address that, such that at the end of the day, we're ensuring that we are getting rid of emerging oppressive practices that end up marginalizing youth further, including the young women that we as women have in our houses as domestic workers?
I myself, being a young person, I think I came here not just to represent the open society, but also to be among the participants and learn from other people.
We all need peace and security to be able to do whatever we want to do. Remember one thing, the average age of leaders and politicians in Africa is about 60 years of age. You are not there. And you can never get to 60 years of age if you are used for their purposes.
So we need to understand we have the capability to engage and do anything, including being presidents of countries.
So I encourage you to share your ideas, experiences, and make the most out of the next few days. But I'd like to leave you with a quote from an American author called Pearl S. Buck. She said, "The young do not know enough to be prudent, and therefore they attempt the impossible and achieve it generation after generation."
It is your moment. It is your moment, and you have all reasons, legitimate reasons, to claim. So,
truly want to.
If you youth in politics, East Africa's Under 40 Political Leaders Forum, reinventing leadership for East African millennials. The forum focused on examining East Africa's current political narrative, attitudes and practices. It assessed whether the political policy choices and priorities adopted by East African leaders embrace the legitimate aspirations and voice of youth in the region and respond to their needs and demands. Also discussed was the vulnerability of youth to conflicts in the region, the role youth can play in peace building, ensuring sustainable security and stability in East Africa.
Is that politics is invariably personal. And that means that when people get into politics, you get brought down to the ground level really fast.
Encouragement to the youth is that nobody is going to give you power. Nobody is going to tell you that there is a seat somewhere. You have to seize that. Let's see ourselves as problem solvers. If you are an empty person, kindly go use your expertise to solve the problems that is hitting our community.
Outcomes launched the first ever East Africa Under 40 Political Leaders Forum to now be held annually. Initiated the process of forming an East African Youth Manifesto and a campaign on the East Africa Youth Want. Initiated a youth leadership and mentorship program, the first cohort to be admitted in 2020 for serving and aspiring young parliamentarians working together across the region. Created a network to connect ULEAD alumni with mentors and mentorship opportunities to inspire alumni to compete for elective positions elections in the next election cycle across the EAC partner states and working together towards peaceful elections to avoid election-related violence and insecurity. Initiated a biannual country-by-country and regional biannual youth political leaders performance peer review mechanism for holding elected youth representatives accountable to themselves and the youth constituents they represent. Day 2, Youth in Business and Enterprise. East Africa Under 40 Business Leaders Forum. Globalization. Has globalization lost its steam? The forum was dedicated to discussions on youth and cross-border trade agreements in Africa, the EAC Common Market Protocol implementation, its successes and shortcomings in pursuit of youth-centered cross-border business facilitation in response to youth unemployment challenges through enterprise and innovation.
We need to define, as far as globalization is concerned, we as Africans, what do we have to offer?
And I think one of the key challenges I personally had was I did not think big enough, fast enough.
We need to change our mindsets about our own products.
Workshop. A number of workshops were facilitated by ULEAD consortium members. Globalization and regionalism, impact of current trends and attitudes on East African young people's business aspirations and the future of work. Bridging youth skills gap, recognition of prime skills and youth labor mobility. Migrants and refugees, improving a world on the move. Artificial intelligence, machine learning and the future of work, skills of the future. Youth embracing leadership roles and inventing youth-led accountability. The status of young women in cross-border business in East Africa, enabling and hindering factors. Outcome. Launched the first part and documented for a set of youth-specific policy and capacity gaps faced by youth business leaders attempting to do cross-border business within the EAC. Consensus on key interventions for creating an enabling environment for youth-led cross-border business and enterprise innovations from a youth business leader's perspective. Facilitated the formation of a network of young CEOs and entrepreneurs across the EAC. Agenda for establishing the East Africa and with skills in East Africa. And yes, the climax of the day was the CEO networking dinner, which cemented intergenerational business relationships between young CEOs, young political leaders, ULEAD summit partners, government representatives, and policymakers.
Because your videos are really letting you down.
Post-summit the day was dedicated to creating a strong alumni base for us.
Thank you, Beatrice. The ULEAD team, you remain behind for debrief. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We appreciate you.
RT Honorable Martin Gonga. The delegates demanded that the EALA reflects youth perspective in all its legislative, representation and oversight work processes and asked for prioritizing the promotion of youth participation and empowerment as a central part of leadership development and the East Africa Youth Want.
ULEAD Summit 2019 is the Africa that we want.
And I really appreciate ULEAD Summit for giving us a platform on how we can build a collective power to create a sustainable movement that will help us create change in our society.
So I'm very, very happy to participate in ULEAD Summit 2019.
ULEAD Summit is really...
Summit, youth power.
ULEAD Summit is empowering.
To all the ULEAD partners of 2019, Thank you for your continued commitment to the ULEAD ambitions. Your participation and support has enabled us to meet several of our goals for 2019. We look forward to continued success together through this collaboration as we pursue the post-summit agenda. To partner with us, contact us. partners@uleadsummit.org, info@uleadsummit.org, www.uleadsummit.org. Follow us on all social media channels via @uleadsummit.